Summer transfer news is looking pretty good, and the genius move that Liverpool made just a couple of years ago was to sign Cody Gakpo to a brand new contract. Now, at the time, it looked like a weird move. Cody still hadn't quite found his place in the team, and even though he was fulfilling duties on that left-hand side and always looked like he still kept his fitness and was consistent in the side, he really wasn't the breakout star that I think a lot of people thought he possibly could have been when he first signed for Liverpool, when he was playing deep and mazing his way through multiple sides in the Eredivisie, or doing great things for the national team at striker. He looked like an adaptable player. Liverpool played him at 8. We played him like the left wing. We played him as striker. And you know what? That you'll always look it back and you'll go, fairly solid. Premier League title, good teammate, great person to have around. Obviously valuable in the market and obviously does something a lot of other people value, but not what Liverpool need, not what we need in this very moment. So when we signed that new contract with him, it all seemed a little bit weird. And not only that, but obviously we were looking at new options. We were looking at the pathway for people like Rio and Gamoa. We were looking at moving on Luis Diaz, or at least someone on that left-hand side. We were looking at pace, power. It looked as if the meta of football was changing a little bit. But I still think that Cody is a relevant player. And clearly, Spurs feel the same. With Liverpool valuing him around 70 mil, that seems to be the biting point. I reckon he'll go closer to 60, but if we can get 70 for him, I'll be absolutely thrilled. And you know what? I'll happily say I think Cody has been a fantastic Liverpool player in his time. Not the top end, but he's won things, he's competed, he's been part of kind of memorable, I want to say performances, but like team performances. He's changed games under Slot. He was always a considerable, reliable player under Jurgen Klopp. And I also think that he's got the best out of some other people in the side. Yes, there are times where I think he's been very frustrating. Yes, there are times where I think he looks like his head goes down and he tries his move. And, the passing to the outside on the left and Kirk Ayers and everything else. People clearly love him within the team. And I think, we're not going to miss his play in the sense that I think we're probably going to bring someone else in on that left-hand side. We want to clear the way for someone like Rio and Gamoa. We've got more creative players on that left-hand side now. Ekitike is probably going to be looking to break in on that side. Isak loves to drift out there. And I think we knew that his kind of days were numbered, or we knew that, at least there would be a shift on that side after we signed those new guys. But that's not the point. The point is Liverpool made this move. And it is not only about offering the player a new contract to keep him happy. It's also about offering the new player a new contract to bring the value and as an asset to the team. And asset management is a thing that in recent years we've really not been good at. So yeah, I'm happy to see Cody Gakpo leaving or potentially leaving for a decent fee. I still think probably a fee where I feel a lot of Liverpool fans look at it and go, okay, what do you see that we don't? But that's probably just being mean. That's probably just being a little bit facetious to a player who, again, has done good things for the side. Tactically, I think Liverpool are just looking to move on. And it's fair to say I don't think that Gakpo is, as much as he's a football player, as much as he scores goals, as much as he is a good player to have around, the profile that we'd say that Iraola would look for. I think Iraola is looking much more direct. I think he's looking much more for runners and pace and explosive power. And Gakpo has, a lot of great elements to his game, but he is not that explosive winger who cuts inside and combines with the striker in the way that Iraola wants him to. He's, again, a very good player, a very solid pick, but he's not the profile we need. And I also think he's not where the team are looking to move towards either. Spurs might be looking to move in that direction. And the concern for me, even though, obviously if we do let Gakpo move on, and we will sign someone else if we allow Gakpo to move on, would be that we see him go and, kind of explode elsewhere at Spurs. I think it's inevitable that he will do something good at Spurs, at least in the short to medium term. They're clearly spending a lot of money on him and looking at a really solid Premier League profile. They clearly rate him as a player. I think he's a really good dressing room get, and I think he is the kind of personality that someone like De Zerbi really likes, because he's got the traditional values in inverted commas. He's got a personality which is good to have around. He's very consistent. He does have repeatable moves and ideas and movements that I think some managers are really looking for in their system. That's not what, again, Iraola is going to look for. It potentially, I think, was what Slot was looking at, but I think he was probably just a more consistent performer and one of the guys for Slot. And now that Iraola doesn't have those guys, now we aren't married to those ideas anymore, like we were under Slot, look what we can do. I think we are going to go out there and try and sign Diamande. I think we are going to go out there and allow more of a pathway for Rio and Gamoa. We're going to bring Ekitike back in once he's come back from his injury, and I really hope he is okay. Isak will be allowed to wander out there at times. Viats obviously loves playing off the left as well. There are just so many different influences out there. And, you'll probably be saying, well, we're going to sign this winger, this man, Munoz. We just signed him. He'll be a fantastic and adaptable influence up front. There are just so many changes. And I think profile-wise, signing Munoz clearly shows that Liverpool are moving on from the Gakpo profile. Some other people are saying, obviously, that also shows moving on from the Isak profile, or the Ekitike profile, whatever it is. There's got to be some consistency in this side. And I think the manager has to get some of his players that he just absolutely wants to set the tone or to be there in training or to match his style or whatever it is. The other pieces have to be adaptable and obviously are just world-class players, as Liverpool have seen at the World Cup so far. That's what's fascinating about Gakpo and a number of other players as well. We might underrate them now because, well, they didn't have a good season under Slot or 2 seasons under Slot, or they were good for windows of the Slot period. And, we knew that they would be good under Klopp, or Klopp always made players look better, or there was a vision under Klopp that maybe we didn't quite fulfill, and then it was fulfilled as a Slot, and then it began to ebb away. Those are all options. Those are all kind of things which I think played out concurrently. And Gakpo goes away and does well with the Netherlands. Yes, he is a good player. That is why Spurs are bidding the money for him. But I also think one thing we're going to get used to in the modern era is quality players moving on from clubs, even if they are quality players. That they will fit managers' profiles better, they'll fit managers' ideas better, they will, in the long term, just be kind of, well, we had him, but we wanted someone else because this other player fits better with this, and we're going to change the shape of our midfield. I think Gakpo was always kind of caught in a bit of a halfway house, and I always feel bad for those kind of players. Having said that, I think he'll probably move on with good memories from the Liverpool team. He'll move on as a player that we all feel a lot of affection for because he was a good influence, and he was always someone who looked like, even though there was a bit of kind of murmuring and moaning sometimes when he was in the team, he always played with a smile on his face, always did it in good faith. And I think you could say that's not always been the case for a lot of top-end players recently, especially ones who've looked like they were due for a move or looking to move elsewhere. He's always been a consummate professional. And that's what I want from a Liverpool player. The minimum that I expect is that you're a consummate professional. But I think that the professionalism in the side in recent months has been questioned. Gakpo was not one of those players. I think that's probably why he played. It's also probably why, we also saw him suffer in the team because I think, he was quite isolated out there at times. I also think he's not really had a fair crack of the whip because this side wasn't really ticking. They weren't really in a great position. I think at one point, we probably wanted Diaz more than we wanted Gakpo. But I think that's kind of it. And I think what we will see and what we will say is I never think that Gakpo quite fulfilled that potential at the team. And some people will be damning because of that. I think other people will say, well, is he a mid-level, top-level player? What, is he a Euro player? Is he a player who plays at the World Cup? Is he a player that plays in the Europa League rather than in the Champions League? I think that'd be a little bit unfair, but I could see him playing with someone like AC Milan. I could see him playing with someone like Spurs if they struggle or are kind of on the fringes constantly of Champions League football. So there is a lot there to be said about Cody Gakpo. I wanted him to do better. I kind of always wanted him to be a little bit deeper and not a number 10, but like a progressive 8, or like if we were going to play those 2 attacking 10s, he was always very good at winning it back. It's not about dropping intensity or not having the Klopp idea anymore. I'm not ever sure that he quite suited the Klopp idea 100%. He was a very good player, but I think Klopp was looking to move on from, at times, Klopp ball. And I think with that, what we're basically saying is this is not the profile we want anymore. Munoz will play way more minutes if Gakpo wants to stick around anyway. And 70 million is a lot of money to us. It not only means that we can go out there and spend a lot more money on other people, but I also think that we are looking in a market now, which is, again, about value. It's not only about spending the 100 million on players. It's about finding value in someone like Munoz. I think he's a fantastic value player. And, of course, there'll be reasons that other people aren't going in for him. I think part of the reason will be because of his previous with, Will Real Madrid on about, blah, blah, blah. We're looking for value. We're looking for an upside. We're looking for people to grow into roles. He's definitely that kind of guy. And frankly, I think it's all about pathways for us. This will be the season where, had Slot stuck around, we'd probably have gone, I see. But I think Areola is going to shape them more into his image. And frankly, I think a manager should be able to make those calls while he's here. And I do think we have a number of players in the side who probably were ready to move on if the manager said, actually, you're not my profile. Anyway, what do you think of the... That's nice, isn't it? Speaking of influential number 10. Anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Are you happy to see him move on? I am. I think he's done his job at Liverpool. I think he's never quite hit the heights, but he's always been good. And I appreciate you guys watching. I will chat to you in a while. Much love. Bye-bye.